Static VA disability ratings, all right, when the VA says that your condition is not expected to improve and no future exams are scheduled, okay? So, we're going to get into what a static rating is, and I'm going to give you some examples like severe hearing loss, chronic migraines, certain spinal injuries, long-term mental health diagnosis, and all of that. The static ratings are the VA's way of saying this is permanent and we do not expect changes. Okay. So they are considered permanent, meaning the VA does not expect improvement and will not schedule routine re examinations, veterans. What does that do for you? That offers peace of mind, but reductions can still happen in certain circumstances. I'm going to break that down for you as well. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Care about you guys. Thank you for your service to our country. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. Share this out with someone that can use this information. Okay. So, the VA static disability condition, again, is what the VA considers permanent and not expected to improve. So, no future exams are scheduled to recheck it. A static VA disability can only be taken away if there's clear evidence of fraud, a significant, clear, and unmistakable error in the original decision, or undeniable proof that the condition no longer exists. Okay. So once your claim is rated, once your condition is rated, it's given more likely than not a permanent evaluation. Okay. Meaning the VA won't schedule future exams to check if it has improved. Okay. So, can the VA take away a static VA disability rating? Right? In most cases, as I just mentioned, no. A static VA disability is meant to be permanent, which means the VA doesn't expect your condition to improve and won't schedule future examinations. However, veterans, the VA can still take action in specific situations. So, including, okay, fraud in the claim or supporting evidence, a clear and unmistakable error was made in the original VA decision, strong medical evidence showing the disability no longer exists. While possible, you need to understand that it's rare for the VA to completely take away a static VA disability once it is established. Okay. So, can the VA reduce a static disability? Again, a VA static disability can only be reduced when specific criteria is indeed met. So, since routine future exams aren't scheduled with static disabilities, reductions are rare, and I would say they typically occur if there's clear evidence of change, fraud, or procedural error. Um, be forthcoming with what you do, right? If you're getting help, if you're getting advocated, if you're using a claims company, whatever you are doing, be honest, be integral, be forthcoming, be upright about what you're doing. Okay, make sure you know who's helping you out. Okay, if it's you, make sure you don't minimize. However, make sure you don't over exaggerate or say that you can't do things, and indeed you can do them. I can't lift above 30 pounds, and yet you're over here lifting 300 pounds, bench pressing that, and it's all over Instagram and Facebook. Don't do that. Okay. Also, it's nobody's business what your ratings are. Okay. A lot of veterans talk. I heard, and I get it, get the help that you need, but you don't need to go into details on everything and how you got there. But it's almost like this sense of pride that I would be very careful of, where we as veterans are like, man, I'm 100%, and we talk about it, and I'm 100%, and I got 100%, and I got, listen, get the help that you need. You don't need to relinquish or say more than what needs to be said. But when we're talking about fraud, that's what we're talking about, right? And if you don't know the evidence going in your claim, and you're just trusting somebody's word and they're not giving you evidence, that could be signs of potential fraud. If you know that you're not giving them medical records and you're not getting treated and your treatment's not matching up, but yet some doctors whipping up 100% or something like that. I mean, listen, the VA is looking at everything. They're trying to match the rating, because you guys and gals, we've got to understand that these are the taxpayer dollars, Every veteran, I'm going to say, should be rated where they need to be rated at, right? But everything should be done honestly, integrally, forthcoming, rightfully so, right? And just make sure that you are upfront with that. Whatever you're dealing with, make sure that you let them know, right? Don't just make it up, okay? So again, reductions are rare and typically only occur if there's clear evidence of change, fraud, or a procedural error. Okay, so stuff was overlooked, you know, throughout the VA disability process. So generally, a general rule of thumb here for disabilities service connected for over 5 years, the VA must show sustained improvement either through reexamination or by clear evidence in the record. So typically that's documented over time before reduction can occur. Okay. So again, take care of yourselves. Get the treatment that you need. Um, don't you don't have to live in fear of reduction if you're taking care of what you're claiming. Okay. Disabilities that have been service connected for less than 5 years can be reduced if there's credible evidence that the condition has significantly improved. Okay. Reductions, please understand, are not automatic. If you've been granted service connection, it's not just we're just going to take it back just out of nowhere. You're going to get a letter and it's just going to be taken away. Before reducing any disability rating, unless it's fraud or clear and unmistakable error, the VA must notify you and give you 60 days to indicate willingness, right, to report for a reexamination or to present new and relevant evidence, or an opportunity to request a hearing. Okay. You've got to make sure that you do that. Okay. But again, you don't want to get slipping. They ask for a reexamination and you have nothing to provide them at all. It's tough. We do help out a lot of people who are getting help with reductions. And most of the time they are because they're filing for something else. They're not expecting it. And then the VA comes and they open up a can of worms, right? Filing for this one thing. And then they get reevaluated for a totally different condition. I've been seeing and hearing about it a lot with the individual unemployability as well. People filing for it. Now they're getting proposed reexamination for other things and they're going on a wild goose chase. So be careful with it. Okay. And if you're 100%, if you don't need to file for more, you don't need to. Okay. If you do, okay, you do. If you need to file for, special monthly compensation or something like that, and it makes sense to do it, just be careful with it. Okay. Make sure that it's worth it. Okay. You got to weigh out, like, is the $148 or $150, whatever the special monthly compensation is for like ED, is it worth me risking opening up another claim? I don't know. You need to weigh out those options for yourself. Does the VA reevaluate static conditions? By definition, what is a static VA disability? I've talked about this before, but it's considered permanent. So what does that mean? It means the VA doesn't schedule routine future exams to check for improvement. Okay. If it's not static, they can. And most of the times that is like, let's say you have one rating and it's 100% PTSD. Okay. You may not be permanent in total off that. And why? Because that PTSD could improve. However, be honest, be forthcoming, get the care that you need. Okay. Once a condition is labeled static, your rating is generally protected from reexamination. Okay. So how do you know if your VA disability is static? You can check your VA rating decision letter for language like static, not likely to improve, or no future exams are scheduled. If you see those phrases, right, your condition is considered static. Okay. So I'm going to actually put that down here in the comments. All right. It's very important to understand that your rating decision letter is super duper important. Make sure that you monitor that. Make sure you take a look at that. That's the 17-page document. And guys and gals, there are 3 separate documents that you need to pay attention to. Benefit summary letter, that's all the benefits that you have, right? It lets you know the amount that you have. It lets you know your percentage. That lets you know if you're permanent in total and all of that, right? It's a 2-page document. your rating disability code sheet or disability breakdown letter you can get from the VA. It's not on your VA app, and that breaks down each condition along with the diagnostic code so you can see how the VA rated you. It's very important because sometimes things read differently in the VA app as opposed to your code sheet, okay? Your rating disability diagnostic codes, okay? And then you have the decision letter. It's the narrative of how they came to the conclusion of the decision for your claims, right? And why, and the evidence that was used, and the reasoning for decision. And that's where you can look for this, language like static, not likely to improve, no future exams are scheduled. If you see those phrases, your condition is considered static. If you're still unsure, you can request a copy of your VA claims file. Okay. And I'm going to be putting that in here, and that is with VA form 20-10206. My friends, here's the link for it. Get your C file if you need it. I just gave you the link. It's right there in the chat. Open that up and do that, okay? If you need to, okay? Order your VA claim C file. Why not have it, okay? Very, very important. I'll be doing a video this week on how to request your VA claims file, your C file online, okay? So the static disability list, the VA doesn't have an official static disability list, but certain conditions are commonly treated as static because they're permanent and unlikely to improve, like maybe blindness, chronic hearing loss, loss of a limb, an organ, or a body part, paralysis, again, amputations. Those are like mental health could improve. Things could improve. So if your condition does fall into one of the amputations, chronic hearing loss, loss of a body part, blindness, paralysis, if it falls into one of those categories, it is likely considered static. Remember, static means the VA expects your disability to remain the same, not get better, which generally protects that rating, okay? So can the VA take away static VA disability? Yeah, but it's very unlikely unless there's a major, clear, and unmistakable error, fraud, or undeniable evidence of improvement, okay? If you're unsure of whether your condition is considered static, I just dropped the C file link in here, and check your rating decision letter as well too. It's very, very important. Also, I have other videos out there about the 5-year rule, the 10-year rule, and the 20-year rule, okay? And that is where you can breathe easier. You have layers of protection, if you will, right? The VA 5-year rule, after 5 years, the VA must prove sustained improvement before reducing. The 10-year rule, after 10 years, your service connection itself is safe. It can't be terminated, though the rating can be adjusted, okay? The 20-year rule, after 20 years, your rating is locked in. Again, look, the VA cannot reduce it, okay, below that level unless fraud is involved or significant improvement. So if you've had your rating for years, you're in a very, very good position, okay? Here's what you need to do, okay? Let's do this. Call to action here, practical application from this video. Keep documentation. Even if you're not under active treatment, make sure you've got medical evidence to back up your condition, right? Attend exams if called. Don't skip any VA re-exams. Not showing up gives the VA leverage. Stay educated, know your rights, know the rules, stay ahead of the process, okay? So again, can the VA take away a stating? Technically, yes, but practically speaking, again, it's very rare. Static ratings exist to give you, the veteran, stability. And with the 5, 10, and 20-year protections in place, you can rest easy knowing your benefits are safe. So, man, appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, hit that notification bell. Share this out with someone that can use this. Look in the comments if you need to get your VAC file. It's right here. I appreciate you guys. Again, thank you for your service. If you need anything, reach out to us. We are here for you. I hope that this helps you. Share this out with someone that can use this information. Thank you. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.